Queensland drivers, listen up. There's a brand new 2026 driving law coming that could completely change how you drive, how much you pay in fines, and even how close you're allowed to get to roadside workers. And if you miss this update, you could be hit with penalties before you even realize the rule has changed. But don't worry, in this video, I'm breaking down everything clearly, what's new, when it starts, and how to stay fine-free. So, if you drive anywhere in Queensland, whether that's Brisbane, the Gold Coast, or out in the regions, this video is for you. Before we get into it, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you'll always be the first to know when laws like this change again because trust me, they will. I break down every major rule change so you don't have to dig through government websites or wonder what's real and what's just social media rumors. Alright, seatbelt on, engine running. Let's dive straight into the new 2026 Queensland driving laws you must know. Now, first things first, why are these changes even happening? Over the past few years, Queensland's Department of Transport and Main Roads has been under increasing pressure to modernise road safety rules. Road conditions have changed, vehicle technology has changed, and so has driver behaviour. Smartphones, electric vehicles, roadside assistance services, and distracted driving are all part of a very different driving environment than what existed 10 or even 5 years ago. To respond to that, the Queensland Government introduced a series of amendments through the Transport and Other Legislation Amendment Act 2024, which sets out certain updates that will progressively take effect through 2025 and 2026. The goal is to reduce accidents, especially those involving roadside workers, emergency responders, cyclists, and young or inexperienced drivers. These updates are part of a bigger effort to make Queensland roads safer and to align local laws more closely with what's happening in other Australian states. One of the most important parts of this new law package is what's known as the move over and slow down rule. If you drive regularly, you've probably already seen flashing lights from police, fire, or tow truck vehicles stopped on the shoulder of the road. Under the 2026 rules, whenever you approach a stationary emergency or roadside assistance vehicle displaying flashing lights, whether they're red, blue, amber, or magenta, you must slow down and if safe, move over to another lane away from them. This is now a clear legal obligation. The idea is to create a buffer zone of safety for the people working on the roadside who are often just centimetres away from fast-moving traffic. Ignoring this rule could cost you around $500 and 3 demerit points. But the real cost could be much greater if someone gets injured because a driver didn't slow down. So, if you see flashing lights, take your foot off the accelerator, change lanes if it's safe, and give those workers space to do their job safely. Next, let's talk about the rising costs of driving. You might have noticed your vehicle registration renewal feels a bit more expensive than it used to. That's because the government applied a 3.4% increase to registration fees and traffic fines from July last year, and those rates continue to carry through. This means that if you do break a rule, whether it's speeding, phone use, or not wearing a seatbelt, your fine will likely be higher than you expect. So, even though this isn't a law change in the sense of creating new offences, it definitely affects your wallet. The message from officials is clear. Fines are meant to be a deterrent, and if people still ignore the rules, the financial sting is only going to increase. Now, if you're a learner driver or a parent helping someone get their L plates, you'll want to pay extra attention here. The Queensland Government is currently reviewing the learner driver licence scheme, specifically the requirement for young drivers under 25 to complete 100 hours of supervised driving before sitting for their plate test. The system has been in place for quite a while, and while it's helped create more experienced drivers, some experts argue that not all hours are equal. 100 hours driving around quiet suburbs doesn't necessarily prepare you for the challenges of highways or poor weather. There's talk of introducing new standards for how those hours are logged, including potential waiting for nighttime or challenging conditions, as well as an expansion of digital logbook verification. While these changes aren't fully confirmed yet, 2026 is expected to bring at least some reform to this area. So, if you're working toward your license now, keep an eye out for announcements from the Department of Transport and Main Roads. Another big area of change is how Queensland law treats distracted driving. We all know by now that it's illegal to use your phone while driving unless it's hands-free. But starting in 2026, enforcement is expected to get even stricter. Queensland is expanding its use of mobile phone detection cameras that use AI technology to automatically identify drivers holding or touching their phones. These cameras are capable of capturing images even at high speed, and the evidence they collect can lead to significant fines and demerit points. The rule is simple. If the phone isn't properly mounted and you're not using a hands-free, don't touch it. That includes checking maps, changing songs, or glancing at notifications. Even if you're stopped at a traffic light, the law still applies. The camera doesn't care whether your car is technically moving. If the engine's on, and you're in the driver's seat, you can be fined. Queensland Transport has been clear that these measures are not about revenue raising, but about changing driver habits because distracted driving continues to be one of the top causes of accidents across the state. Cyclist safety also continues to be a priority in 2026. Drivers are reminded that when overtaking a cyclist on a road with a speed limit of 60 km per hour or less, they must allow at least 1 meter of space between their vehicle and the cyclist. On faster roads, that minimum increases to 1.5 meters. These rules have existed for a while, but enforcement and public awareness campaigns are being stepped up. The 2026 updates include clearer definitions about when a driver can cross center lines or painted traffic islands to safely pass a cyclist. This aims to remove confusion that often leads to hesitation or unsafe overtaking. Remember, cyclists have every right to be on the road, and your patience could literally save a life. Another question that's come up frequently on social media is whether Queensland is introducing a new blanket speed limit drop in 2026. The short answer is no. There isn't a single speed limit change that affects all roads. However, there are reviews underway for high pedestrian areas such as inner-city Brisbane, the Gold Coast beachfront zones, and some regional town centres where lower limits could be introduced to make streets safer for pedestrians and cyclists. These will be announced locally rather than rolled out statewide. If you're used to driving through certain busy areas, just keep an eye out for new signage, especially near schools, hospitals, or shopping precincts. Speaking of rumours, it's important to clear up some of the false ones circulating online. There have been viral posts claiming that it's now illegal to eat or drink while driving in Queensland, or that you can be fined for singing or talking to passengers. Those claims are false. There is no blanket law banning food or drink behind the wheel. However, if you're eating a burger, drinking a coffee, or doing anything else that distracts you from driving and causes unsafe behaviour, police can still issue a fine for not being in proper control of your vehicle. So, it's more about common sense than prohibition. Keep your focus on the road. Now, let's address what all of this means for you as an everyday driver. The biggest takeaway is awareness. Most road law breaches don't happen because people are malicious. They happen because people simply don't know the latest updates. So staying informed is your best defense against fines and accidents. Make sure you follow credible sources. That means official Queensland government websites like the Department of Transport and Main Roads or the Street Smarts Queensland Initiative, which regularly publishes clear and easy to understand breakdowns of every rule. Don't rely on random posts on Facebook or TikTok. Those are where misinformation spreads fastest. Beyond the rules themselves, these changes highlight something bigger. The shared responsibility we all have on the road. Every driver, cyclist, pedestrian, and emergency responder has a right to safety. When you slow down near roadside workers, when you put your phone down, when you keep that extra meter from a cyclist, you're part of a culture of respect that keeps Queensland roads safe. And in a state as large and diverse as Queensland, where you can go from busy city traffic to wide open highways in a single trip, those small moments of awareness make a massive difference. So, here's what you should do right now, if you haven't already. Review the official move over and slow down guidelines. Check that your mobile phone mount is compliant and positioned correctly. Make sure your registration and insurance are current. If you're a learner or a parent helping one, download the latest digital logbook app and keep up with announcements about the new learner-driver framework. If you share the road with cyclists, remind yourself what the safe passing distances are. And above all, take pride in being a driver who stays informed, because that's what responsible motoring is all about. Before we wrap up, let's quickly talk about timing. The new laws are coming into effect in phases throughout 2025 and early 2026, with some provisions automatically commencing by February 2026 under the Amendment Act. That means right now is the perfect time to prepare, not when the fines start hitting people who weren't paying attention. Being early, understanding the law, and adjusting your driving habits will put you ahead of the curve and save you from unnecessary headaches later on. All right, that's the full breakdown of the new 2026 Queensland driving laws and what every driver needs to know. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps more drivers see this information. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because I'll be posting follow-up videos on topics like how the mobile phone detection system actually works, what to expect with the learner license updates, and how you can appeal certain traffic fines if you believe you've been wrongly penalized. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Are you in favor of these new rules, or do you think the government's going too far? Have you ever had a close call near a roadside breakdown or emergency vehicle? I'd love to hear your experience. And remember, driving isn't just about getting from A to B. It's about awareness, patience, and respect for yourself, for others, and for the law. So until next time, drive safe, stay alert, and I'll see you on the road. Thanks for watching.